Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Commissioner Claim Major Weekly Recap Show with my host, your host, who's every week here, Joe Lozier. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. I would also like to welcome our official, unofficial sponsor, Fireball, ladies and gentlemen. The one, the only way to kiss the devil. That's Fireball. Joe, if people like the show, what do you think they can do? Or what should they?
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell, like, subscribe, do it all, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate the support. We should appreciate the views. I hope you like the thumbnails. I did that myself at work. I put the little dudes in there. Joe didn't even notice. But we're moving on, ladies and gentlemen. We are past the Arthur Smith crimes of the world. I hope trick-or-treating was fun last night because there is no trick-or-treats in the fantasy football world, ladies and gentlemen. It is a cold, it is a heartless, and it is a broken hallelujah, okay? There are some that are ascending the towers while there are others that are falling in the depths. I'll let you be the judge of who's who, ladies and gentlemen. Right on in the game, Joe Lozier. We have the Love Trains, who were 1-6 going in this matchup, 8th place. They defeated, just by showing up, really, the Dirty Randys, who were 3-4 going into this, 6th place, 118-75. Joe, that is the lowest scoring contest of the season.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd they get there?
It's pretty rough. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try a new format this week. I got a little bit of abridged notes here, so we're going to get out some of the hoopla, the kish kebab, the stuff that you don't like, and we're going to get right to the meat and potatoes of this, ladies and gentlemen. The Win Moves tune up to 2-6 in 8th place, drops Dirty Randy's down to 3-5 in 7th place. Joe, who did you have in this game, sir?
I think I had Tuna.
Nope, you had Mason.
Oh.
That was
Damn, Mason.
I had Tuna. That was great. And by the way, Joe, our records, just to keep this in mind, because you're going to love it when I say it later too, our records for picks in this one, me going into it, was 13-10-1. You were 15-9. That's a pretty good lead. Not so fast, says Lee Corso. Next matchup, we have yours truly, the Commissioner, going against Thielen Up Your Cousins, who was 2-5 in 7th place. I was 3-5 in 5th place going into this. 3-4. Spoiler alert. I lost 129-125. Joe, I did what any red-blooded American does on Saturday before Halloween. I went out and I partied. I partied hard. Okay? Didn't win the costume contest. That's okay. All right? I told my girlfriend to dress up as the actual Jurassic Park character. She dressed up like a dinosaur, and people think she's a dragon. That's not my fault. We would have won. All right? So when I woke up on Sunday morning, it was about 12 o'clock, noon. I partied hard, like I said. And I was laying in bed, ladies and gentlemen, and I said, you know what? Kyle Pitts, Joe Mixon, Pitts against the Titans, Mixon against the Niners. I don't want him in there. Let me start my two Houston freaking Texans against the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
And I lost by freaking 4 points, man. Jesus. This puts Thielen back into the divisional chase, ladies and gentlemen. He's now won one in a row, but still, that's improvements. This man is going. It puts me at 3-5, but I'm in 5th place. And you know what that means, Joe? If the playoffs ended today,
which they don't.
Which they do not, I would still be in it. Rightfully. Joe, who'd you have in this game?
You?
Yep, because you're a beautiful man. I also had myself, because I am also a beautiful man. But, sometimes the prettiest don't win. It's a story of life, right?
Facts.
Sure. Joe, we have our 4 o'clock game, ladies and gentlemen. This is Brees Lightnings, 5-2 in 3rd place. Soaring, ladies and gentlemen, soaring. Gone, exploded. 174-97 against the Fantasy Fraudsters, who were 4-3 in 4th place going into this. Huge, Joe. That's almost doubled up.
Yeah.
Brees Lightning, you jumped to 6-2 in 2nd place. Fantasy Fraudsters, as I called them all year, dropped to 4-4 in 4th place, which, Joe, if the playoffs end today,
Yeah, if they did, then he'd be in.
But they don't. So you're not going to be in, Daniel. My predictions have come true all along, buddy pal. Joe, who'd you have in this game?
Mahendra.
You absolutely did. I also had Mahendra. So I have
Nice.
2-1. You are 1 for 2. 1 for 2.
And you're 2 for 1. 2 and 1.
Now, Joe Lozier, it is time for our official, unofficial sponsor, Fireball, to bring us last week's America's Fantasy Football Game of this week of the year of our century game. Joe, that's exactly what I hear in my head, like every time I do it, by the way. Fireworks. Going. And ladies and gentlemen, we had fireworks in this game. Maybe from one of the components here. Boner Pills, 5-2. First place wins an easy one to remain in first against Chase Dees, who is fighting for first place. Both these teams were 5-2. First and second. And Joe, you came up just short. Any words on the loss?
Yeah, it stunk. Not good.
It doesn't, Joe. With the said loss, sir, it moves Boner Pills to still remaining first place at 6-2, while Joe falls to third place.
Yeah.
Man.
But if the playoffs ended today,
Which they don't.
I'd be in them if they did.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Joe, who'd you have in this game? Because you are the man I know.
I had me.
Oh, you're damn right. You were wrong. I had Jonathan. If you listen to my analysis, you'll know why I said it all there. I think he's a beautiful soul, beautiful man. Equally as beautiful as Joe, but John's got a full beard, full bushy beard. Joe, with that, sir, I go 3-1 on the week. You go 1-3. That moves us to get this. Dun, dun, dun. Joe, you are 16-12. I am 16-11-1. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we now have our intermission show, which is the waiver wire in order. Joe, somehow, miraculously, you had the top waiver wire pick. I mean, you were the first one to be able to pick, which I think you were, what, 7th, 6th?
I think I was 5th.
Wow, I totally forgot you were ahead of me in waivers. Totally sucked when I woke up this morning. You dropped Jalen Warren and you added Trey McBride. Joe, you know, in the year of our Lord 2021, 2022 draft, I told you Trey McBride was the best tight end in the group, and Cade Otton was second. Well, Trey McBride is so much better than Cade Otton. It's unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. You went ahead and scooped him up before your commissioner. So props to you. Props to you.
Thanks. Yeah, you need a tight end?
Well, I got 2, Joe. So, you know, I don't need one per se, because I actually dropped one, Joe, right behind you. I dropped Dalton Schultz and Jake Moody. I added, and I dropped Tyler Algier too. I'll go ahead and put that. I added, Joe, to solve my tight end conundrums, Taysom Hill. I know, it hurts to say, kind of, dude. I watched Red Zone and I watched that Saints game and I saw all those Taysom Hill touches and I said to myself, we might have to add this guy. But he was my number 2 pick, Joe. He was my number 2 pick. Don't get me wrong. Trey McBride was number 1.
Yeah.
Was number 2. Kyler Murray, ladies and gentlemen, still out there in the world. Justin Fields recovering from a thumb injury. Figured why not pick up Kyler, right? Could also be trade bait. I can keep three quarterbacks on my roster. Don't you fucking doubt me. And I dropped Tyler Algier to pick up a kicker. Because you know why? Because screw Arthur Smith. If Bijan goes down, I'm done with the Falcons offense in general. I'm dropping Kyle Pitts out of singularity and compatibility because I don't want any Falcons on there ever if it's not Bijan. If Bijan's good to go, I'm good to go. Give me all the Falcons. I'll take them all. Tyler Heineke. So I picked up. I dropped Tyler Algier, Joe. Let me get off my. I'm about to go off on Arthur Smith again. I can't stand the man. My goodness. I hope he gets fine. And I added what's the kid's name from Dallas? Blake Groupie? No, that's the Saints.
Audrey.
Audrey, thank you very much. I added the kid from Dallas this week because Jake Moody was on a bye, and I dropped his ass. Get real, dude. Won me weeks, and then the last 4 weeks you put up stinkers, dude. I was about to pick up Ewan McPherson. After waivers had passed, Mahendra is a sly dog. He dropped Miles Sanders, picked up Terry McLaurin. He dropped Terry McLaurin an hour later to pick up Zach Charbonnet. It sounds like a wine. It sounds like a champagne. No, it's not. It's just Zach Charbonnet. Did you like that, Joe?
It's an interesting backfield out there in Seattle. Like, what are we going to do? Because Kenneth Walker is running really well, but like Zach Charbonnet is doing so great on such limited touches. Are they just going to eat each other's value, or is Charbonnet going to overtake him, or is Kenneth Walker going to be the dog through his second year?
Charbonnet did have more touches last week, so you may be onto something. However, with a weak running back room like Mahendra, it boggles my mind how this man is on a 5-game winning streak. It's A.J. Brown and Tyreek Hill, the luckiest pairing in fantasy football, ladies and gentlemen. This man, and I get it, he had to do it. Oh, Joe, I'm about to go off. He had to do it by circumstance, but he let me know beforehand, hey, I got an auto draft. Like, cool, all right. You know, Tuna's done with the year. He's gone. See ya. Wrong. Let's draft this man, the computer. Let's draft this man, the best receiver and the second best receiver in football that are putting up stupid stats. I'm over it. Yeah, so that's – oh, wait, one more waiver. This came in real late. It's coming in my ear. Dirty Randy dropped who did they drop? Tutu Atwell, the man that wears tutus in public, and they picked up Amari Cooper. That's actually a good pickup, Joe. If I didn't trade so much to get Calvin Ridley's broke ass, gambling ass, I might have picked up Amari to man that spot. Woo! So, Joe, I don't know why I tossed this away. We have now come.
He also dropped Cam Akers to pick up Darrell Henderson.
Good on you, Mason. That's the money move, son. I looked at Mason for a trade target, and I realized that he's just 3 running backs deep, and that's it. And Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. 3P segment, Joe Lozier. For the second week in a row, your commissioner doesn't even crack the 4 o'clock games. You know why? It's because it's the battle of the division. So the SEC, a.k.a. the Trash Can League this year, is going against each other. And we have the champions or fighting contenders of the ACC going against each other. Joe, do you know who our first matchup is?
Probably.
Tell me to take a step back.
Take a step back.
Thank you, sir. Before we get into this, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome back our unofficial sponsor, Fireball. They are going to be brought to you today by the 3P segment by Clay Major. I said that in reverse, but Fireball, don't hold that against me. My broadcasting and advertising is very, very good. Let's go, baby. 3Ps, our first matchup, Joe. Who would you have guessed?
Tuna and Andrew.
You're God, you know me too well. That is absolutely true. We have the Love Trains 2 and 6 in 8th place taking on Thielen up your cousins 3 and 5 in 6th place. They are both on 1-game winning streaks, which was crazy because just a week ago they were the 2 worst teams in the league, bar none. Andrew won the first matchup in this one, Joe Lozier, 117-95. The buys for this week. This is kind of juicy. Now, a lot of people have buys. Tuna has Deebo Samuel and Jameson Williams on buy. Andrew, the heart and soul of this football team, Travis Etienne. Dude, what a effing steal. He is on a buy. Evan Ingram, his only tight end, is on a buy. I've offered him trades because Kirk Cousins injured. He doesn't have a quarterback on the roster, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just bring this up. Okay, Kirk Cousins on IR. Joe?
Andrew, I'm speaking to you, Andrew. I know a fantasy manager that has.
We do not do collusion on this show. We do not give little hints to people or whatever. Plus, I have Dolphins. I have Tua You want Tua. Yes, Joe. Yes.
Andrew, I'm talking to you. There are fantasy managers out there who have multiple quarterbacks on their roster and multiple tight ends on their roster. I'm just saying, maybe if you picked up your phone, looked at your trade requests, we might be able to get you a full roster this week.
Woo! Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much, dude. I think you're absolutely correct. There's a lot of teams, one team with 3 quarterbacks on the roster, who's not going to drop any either for you. And another team with 2 tight ends on the roster who are in the one's number 12 and one's number 7. I don't see why we can't work something out there, but that's
deals.
I'm sorry to cut you off, dude. I was going to go random Macho Man.
You're good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have multiple quarterbacks on your roster?
No, just multiple tight ends. You have multiple quarterbacks. I have multiple tight ends. Let's make deals with Andrew.
Not if I can make a deal for that Trey McBride. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. So, also David Montgomery's on bye for Andrew too. With Jahmyr Gibbs' breakout game, though, I don't think David Montgomery is going to be the same David Montgomery the first 6 weeks, Andrew. A little FYI. I also have like 5-6 running backs on my roster too. So, holla at me. Also, and I said this earlier, ladies and gentlemen, Kirk Cousins is the only quarterback on his roster. Where is Kirk Cousins now, Joe Lozier?
Yeah, he's
in a hospital bed, just like Andrew's season was 2 weeks ago before he beat me.
Getting as many fantasy points as Dalvin Cook, who is also on his roster.
You got to love dedication. The man drops Adam Thielen, who he named his team after, drafted him last pick of the draft, but keeps Dalvin Cook. You got to love the irony, Joe. I swear to God, Andrew is the most complex man in the world. You know those Dos Equis commercials? The most interesting man in the world? Andrew is the most
complex
in the world. Joe, who do you got in this one?
I'm going to.
If I went first, would that sway your decision?
No.
You're a smart man, Joe. I looked at the matchups. I'm going Tuna. Travis Etienne's out. His tight end's out. He doesn't have a quarterback. Doesn't have a tight end. So that's the simple reason why I'm doing it. Next matchup, Joe, we have everyone's favorite commissioner. It's my show. I'm the one. Commish Clay. Everyone's fun. Woo! Let's go. Run my show. John Mustard. 3-5, 5th place, going battle against the Dirty Randys. My roommate, my friend, who's also 3-5, but in 7th place. Clay, I won back in week 2, Joe, 142 to 132. Buys. Mason has no one. Commissioner has Calvin Ridley, which is okay because I thought I was training for like my number 2 wide receiver, number 3 wide receiver. Worse, yeah, I had the worst wide receiver on my roster, Calvin Ridley. Joe, I'll go first in this one. I am going to take myself here, though.
Got you too.
You got me too?
Yeah.
I looked at the matchups, and I just can't justify putting – trust me, if there's any week to put somebody above me, I would have done it here. 1, for good juju, and 2, because Mason's like the best person to pick to beat me because most of the time he doesn't. But yeah, I just think the matchups alone.
Yep. Facts.
Thanks, sir. Facts. My man, dude, did you see that meme around where it's like the dude with the pineapple hair? It's like, I just want one of these guys to follow me around and just say facts. All right, Joe. 4 o'clock matchup, Joe.
Yeah, I got me because I'm not losing to Dan.
Wow. Whoa. 2 things. 1, I am so impressed that you knew you were the 4 o'clock matchup. You know me too damn well. You know how I pick these things. You know I do it fairly. 2, I love the fucking audacity, man. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. That's the goals. Dude, that's the gallstones, bro. It's what makes you a man.
Yeah.
Chase D's, Joe Lozier, 5-3, 3rd place, takes on the Fantasy Fraudsters, 4-4 in 4th place. So if the playoffs ended today,
thankfully they don't.
Joe, you would be in them. Daniel would not. The winner of this matchup, however.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. But they don't.
The loser of this matchup is a different story because if Daniel wins, he could potentially leapfrog Joe into the final playoff spot, which is incredible. Could you imagine, Joe? That would be just like last year. You're so strong. The fantasy fraudsters, Joe, you may not want to hear this. In the last matchup in week 2, they beat you 179 to 140. Say it ain't true. Yeah. Buys. Joe, you have Brandon Ayuk and Amon St. Brown, the sun god. God bless him. Beautiful individual. Great ethic.
Thank God I have 2 more top 10 wide receivers on my roster to plug in there.
Who's the third?
Well, I have DJ Moore and Jamar Chase. Oh, and in my flex, I guess I'll just start a top 20 in Garrett Wilson.
With a top 30 in Garrett Wilson and Tyson Bagent as quarterback. DJ Moore got there with Justin Fields as his quarterback, sir, not Tyson Bagent. So let's be real there. The fantasy fraudsters have Jared Goff as their quarterback on bye this week, which is okay because he has Joe Burrow starting. No big deal there. Joe, you went first. I was going to go first. I do have you as well.
Oh!
Okay, but I have it. And I wrote this down. I said barely.
Barely. Yeah, I see that.
It was a hard matchup, okay? It was a hard thing to pick. Overall, I thought you have the slight edge based off record and pedigree. And yeah, I feel confident going with you.
Do you think that Miami can shut down Kelsey?
I don't think Miami has to shut down anybody. I think the question is, can somebody shut down Miami?
Yeah.
There you go.
But if Miami gets up big, he's just going to keep throwing to Kelsey. I would like to take a shot. I guess we can attribute it to our America's Game of the Week of the Year of the Century game.
Bingo. Precisely. Our unofficial official sponsor, Fireball. They are bringing you week 8? No, week 9. My God, Joe.
Week 9.
Uber. Woo! America's Fantasy Football Game of the Week of this year of our century game. Brought to you by official sponsor, Fireball.
Damn.
The Brees Lightnings, ladies and gentlemen, this is a juggernaut matchup. This is Stone Cold versus The Rock in WrestleMania 19. We have Brees Lightning, 6-2, second place, riding a 5-game win streak. 5 games. Ladies and gentlemen, he was 1-2, below 500 5 games ago, and is now tied for the best record in the league. That's absolutely incredible. I love a good underdog story like that. I love Mark Wahlberg in that Philadelphia movie. Terrific. He's going against Boner Pills, who are 6-2 in first place, Joe.
Yeah.
Blow that cloud out, dude. Vape Nation.
I don't do that.
Boner Pills defeated Brees Lightning back in week 2. 160 to 112. The buys this week. Boner Pills, Run CMC's on bye. Deuces, bro. There goes your chances of a victory. George Kittle's on bye. That's okay. He's technically your backup tight end. Cam Sutton, Brock Purdy, and Jahmyr Gibbs all on bye. That's ruthless. The worst buys on schedule this week fall to you and then Andrew. However, Brees Lightning doesn't come out unscathed. He has Trevor Lawrence and Sam Laporta Potty on bye. But that's okay because he's got Dalton Kincaid to cover.
Yeah.
Joe, I'm going to go first in this one. I have – this kills me to do. Commissioner has a little bit of a soft spot for John, okay? In the ACC league, he is like a son to me. I've mentored him throughout his fantasy football apprenticeship. And I think he's a great man, great human being. His body looks great, better than it ever did. I fell in love with a barrel, and now I'm falling in love with John Cena. It's incredible, Joe. Incredible. With that being said, I am taking the more successful man. I am taking Mahendra, baby. I am riding the lightning like Thor going against Loki or anybody else. I am doing it, and I am getting it. Who do you got, Joe?
Yeah, breeze me up.
Are you fucking kidding me? Do we have all the same people?
Do we? Because I'm not letting your pick determine my pick. You know what? Fuck it. I'll take John.
No. We'll keep it at Kumar. You're right. Don't let my pick decide yours.
Do we have all the same?
We have all the same.
I'm taking John.
You
No, I
want
can't take John. I can't take John. I'm not taking John. I'm taking Mahendra. I'm not doing it.
Do you want to change? Do you want to change to Daniel in your matchup?
No.
Okay.
Hell no. What kind of shit is that?
Do you think Mason would beat me?
Most people want to borrow sugar, maybe even ketchup. You want me to pick Dan?
Mason just wants a football team, ladies and gentlemen. With that being said, that has been your show. I have been your commissioner. I hope you guys like this new little script here. It went well. We might continue it. I think the abbreviations were pretty good. Joe, your thoughts today. Thank you for being here, but I would like
Thanks for having me. Hit that little bell button. We shaved 5 minutes off. Hit the bell button. You know you enjoyed the show.
Like and subscribe. I went a little longer than usual. Joe got me ranting. Arthur Smith came up. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you. Once again, this has been the Commish Clay Weekly Recap Show. We hope you will join us next week. With that being said, good luck and good night, Cucks.